it's good to see you.
Рад видеть тебя, Джейми.
Have a seat. And I appreciate your coming by on such short notice.
I'm sure I'm the only shrink in Santa Barbara who makes house calls. Is Eden here?
No, she's not. She's at the studio doing a broadcast, and I thought this would give us an opportunity to talk about it.
Tell me what's going on.
Well, as I briefly outlined over the phone, Eden apparently had an experience when she was a little girl that was either too frightening or too painful for an 8-year-old to handle. And she put up a kind of mental roadblock against it. I mean, I know it's not that uncommon.
No, it's not. It's been my frequent experience that patients have buried or repressed memories that their psyches weren't equipped to handle at the time they occurred, often out of shame or guilt.
Anger.
Absolutely. Anger's a terrifying emotion for children, especially in our society, where we're raised believing that it's wrong to express any kind of negative feeling. You think that's what happened to Eden?
Well, it may well be. Well, at least certain events or circumstances, certain people really have triggered her memory, and parts of whatever this was have started to come back to her.
How's Eden handling it?
It's been very difficult. It's like she's reliving part of her past, but it's for the first time.
You're afraid for her, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I'm very concerned. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about. You see, she's going to try to resurrect a key moment in all of this by recreating the circumstances that surrounded it identically. And hopefully by reliving it, she'll be able to come to grips with it and put it to rest.
Are you afraid it'll work?
Yeah. She's so fragile right now, and I just don't understand. I mean, if it was so difficult for her to deal with this in the beginning, what's to say she's going to be able to handle it now? I mean, what if she remembers it and makes things worse rather than better?
Oh, there are no guarantees, Cruz. You know that. There's no clear answer. Generally, I believe if her psyche isn't ready to handle it, she probably won't remember. But if she does remember, that might lead to other discoveries. Eventually, coming to terms with the truth, even if it's very difficult, is the best way to cope with emotional distress. So, I think you should be hopeful. Just how much has Eden remembered on her own?
Well, years ago when she was a little girl, her mother disappeared. And just before that happened, Eden remembers swimming out to a yacht that was anchored offshore, and she saw something there or heard something there. She feels that something happened, but she can't remember what it is. And she thinks if she can get that memory back, all the rest of this will fall into place.
How can I help?
Well, the thing is, we're considering her trying to do this again. Like I said, she would swim out to this yacht again the same way she did when she was a little girl and see what happens. And I'm sort of interested in what the risks might be in such an experience, what the chances would be, for instance, of her even coming up with anything.
Again, that depends. You're looking for answers, and as I said before, I wish I could give you one, but I can't.
Well, can you give me some advice on how you might manage this kind of an experience? I mean, I'm concerned about the repercussions if it were to get out of hand.
Well, okay, it could go a couple of ways. If the memory comes back in fragments, it might be less likely to traumatize her as it would if the experience was relived all at once, full-blown. Then she'd need to assimilate it. What does the yacht have? How does that tie into all this?
Well, her mother, Sophia, was having an affair with the man who owned it. And the last thing anyone knew about her mother at the time was that she fell off that yacht, and then she was presumed dead.
Did Eden see that happen?
Not to my knowledge, but again, that's a possibility. I mean, I'm not sure of anything about this anymore. It's just, I don't know what I'm asking. Would you be amenable to being on standby for us in case we needed you?
Yes, of course.
Thank you. Obviously, I'm not 100% convinced that we should do this, even though I helped generate the plan. But at this point, it seems to me a great deal to Eden. She's pretty enthusiastic about it, and means a lot to me too. I mean, perfectly selfishly, I want my wife back.